really need to start recording these during the day when it's not at like 1 a.m, because yeah. Let's figure that out, shall we? So, also I'll have better lighting if I actually filmed it during the day, but that is not the point of this video. About a year ago, maybe slightly over a year ago, I made a video on time theories and paradoxes, and I said I would make a video about multiverses and parallel universes, and I proceeded to get distracted, as one does. So here we are now. We are going to actually do that multiverse video. Finally. The red is coming from my curtain, I think. I can't fix that. We'll deal with that another time. So I got some notes I wrote, very much like when I did the time theories one, because I'm so enthusiastic about this, and I will most certainly go off on tangents. I know I already will, but so multiverses, parallel universes, things, they're all basically, they fall under the branch of quantum theory and science, like quantum theory, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, all that, which is actually really fascinating to read about and also incredibly confusing. So I wouldn't recommend reading up about it because you will get very confused. Mainly what kicked me into gear on actually writing out thoughts for this video was I recently watched the Star Trek The Next Generation episode Parallels. That's season 7, episode 11, and it looks at parallel universes and things like that in a really creative way. Also, in my memory, that is the first time I'd ever heard about quantum theory, so yeah. And basically the way that I see multiverses and parallel universes is that every choice we have ever been presented with opens the door to a new universe. You may be presented with the simplest choice: cross the road. Do I use the zebra crossing, or do I just go across the road? Or do I not cross the road at all? There's 3 choices there. Each choice will lead to a different path. A different universe opens up from that. There is now a universe where you do cross the road using the pedestrian crossing. There is a universe where you cross the road without using a pedestrian crossing, and there's a universe where you don't cross the road at all. And in each of those universes, you become a completely different person. There are different versions of you all over the cosmos and space and time, and just because of this concept that every choice becomes something else. It's so fascinating to think about. And when you apply this theory some more, you then can assume that you've got infinite universes for every choice, because then each choice gives you another decision, and so on and so forth, like a ripple effect, or like a family tree almost, you know, like how you've got the first thing here, which is like universe A, and then you've got your choices, and your choices then branch out into more choices, and more choices, and more choices, and it just keeps going to infinity. And it's so amazing to think about that, and how you can possibly come face to face with a you from a different universe where you didn't date that person you wanted to date in 5th grade, or you didn't talk to that person you met when you were 15 and start dating them. There's a universe like that, and in that universe then things may have gone differently, and now you're a politician. It's just so incredible. Another good TV series that but explores multiverse theory is Doctor Who. Doctor Who, of course, also goes through time. I've discussed this in the previous video, which will be linked up there-ish. But like Doctor Who will look at alternate universes and multiverses and all that. Prime example, the Fugitive Doctor in most recent series. The first time you meet the Fugitive Doctor, I think, is in Jodie Whittaker's era. And like, this Fugitive Doctor, we don't know where she came from. We don't know what part in the timeline she fits in, and that could just be because she's from a different, like, universe altogether. We never know. The best example is Doomsday. I think the first episode was called Army of Ghosts. Yes, Army of Ghosts. So this was a two-parter episode. Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. So season 2, episodes 12 and 13. In this episode, people are getting ghosts of their loved ones appearing and hanging out with them, and it turns out that these loved ones are actually Cybermen from a different universe, a different timeline, and then they open up a big rift. And if you've ever seen the gift set of David Tennant and Billie Piper on different ends of the wall holding like this, that's from that episode from Doomsday, where Rose ends up going through the rift and into a different universe, and due to that, then the rift closes and there isn't really a way for the Doctor to get her back. So then she ends up being stuck with her alternate mother and father and Mickey and all that. At least her dad's still alive in that universe, though. But you get like some of the best and most heartbreaking lines, such as "I'm burning up a sun just to say goodbye," and the cutoff of Rose Tyler I. But the focus on this is mostly about multiverses, parallel universes. Rose is now stuck in this universe where the Doctor can't get to her because it would completely destroy the fabric of time and space, and ethically he can't put the entire universe in danger just for Rose. It's upsetting and sad, but it's okay because she will come back. It was a Doctor Who special just before David Tennant leaves. End of Time, I think it was. Was it the End of Time? I think it might have been End of Time. I mean, you also see Rose pop up a couple times in season 4 when she's coming to talk to Donna about various things. I don't think it was End of Time. But yeah, Rose pops up. There's another episode in also season 4, it's called Turn Left. I can't remember the number, but in Turn Left there's a alien beetle thing on Donna's back and makes her go back to different times and change her decisions, and that's the big one where you get that theory about like every choice has a separate pathway and things. But it's like if she didn't turn, I think she was supposed to turn right, and she didn't turn right, and so she ended up not ever meeting the Doctor, which then leads to a lot of bad happens. The Doctor dies, and you see Rose, and it's like, how did she come? Rose has been working with Torchwood. We're not talking about Doctor Who. We're mostly talking about multiverses here, but in that circumstance of Turn Left, because Donna made a specific decision, there was a butterfly effect that happened that kind of put everything else into motion and made things really, really bad. So back on track with my notes. It is difficult to prove multiverses are real, but it is still one of my favorite quantum theories to explore in media, in that I am more willing to watch a multiverse film or series than a time travel film or series, because the rules and tropes are usually more consistent instead of conflicting. Whereas with time travel, you've got so many various different people talking about different theories for time travel, so a lot of things change and some of the logic doesn't make sense, and so then you're left feeling unsatisfied. Whereas with a multiverse film or series, things at least stay consistent. A lot of Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is very much on quantum theories and multiverses and all that, and they do it really, really well. A really good example would be the series What If, because it gives you that, it plays on that main theory of the what if this happened, would this end up happening instead? So like instead of Steve Rogers becoming Captain America, you get Peggy Carter being Captain Carter instead. There's a lot of good episodes, and I can't think of them off the top of my head because we've only ever watched season 1. Another example, but that falls more into time travel, is with the Loki series and the Time Variance Authority, but specifically the end of season 2, so spoilers for Loki season 2. But when Loki becomes God of Time or whatever he is, I don't know. It's been a while. But he like gets to sit and he's just observing all these different pathways and dimensions and universes. That is basically Loki is now in command of the multiverse, pretty much. That is what he's doing. He's got all these threads and things and he's holding on to them. He's making sure that time and the universes stay in motion. So it's a really good way to visualize how multiverse theory works. I have a couple books that I haven't read yet, but they're on quantum mechanics and stuff, and once I've read them, I will sit here and give you a full-on lesson. I don't know, maybe I will, I'm not sure. But basically the big question when working on a multiverse or alternate universe, parallel universe piece of media, writing, film, series, whatever, is what if this? This is basically it. It's like, okay, well, what if, I don't want to come up with anything controversial. What if Mount Vesuvius, I think is the volcano in Pompeii, didn't erupt? What would happen then? We'd still have Pompeii, the civilization. We'd have, who knows, maybe we'd all be different. What if Amelia Earhart made it around the world? We never know. There's like all these different, if you think about it, there's different universes and different realities where these catastrophes that have happened to us possibly didn't happen. But then we're left to think, what were the repercussions of those catastrophes not happening? And to me, that's fascinating. That's so interesting to think about. Like, if A didn't happen, we wouldn't have technology, for example. Or if C didn't happen, then crochet would never be in existence. So all that sort of thing. Like, even the smallest, minute little thing could set off a ripple effect that changed the entire evolution of civilization, and we just don't know. Because we can't explore this, because we haven't got a full grasp of quantum theory yet. And most of what we're doing with quantum theory is time travel things. But if we could harness a way to travel between universes, much in the same way you see in like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness or in Doctor Who, what would we do And how could we keep everything in check without destroying humanity in general? It's interesting to think about, and it's fascinating to read about, and just, at least media explores it consistently, you know? Because compared to time theory, there's so much contradiction in time theory. It starts to make it annoying to watch because you don't know if they're going to give you something good or if they're going to mess up something. Like what I discussed in the last video with Star Trek Enterprise and finding out you're going to do something in the future, so then you do the thing, but then was it ever actually your decision or was it just fully influenced? Like, there's so much contradiction in time theory media, whereas with, I'm going to call it quantum media because that's less of a mouthful, but with quantum media at least we have some semblance of consistency. There is something there that keeps everything together and helps it to stay the same or similar. And the day that moves from fiction to reality will be so awesome, but also incredibly dangerous. Although if I do find a parallel universe where the medical industry actually believes me when I say something's wrong, that would be awesome. As it stands, like, loosely speaking, generalizing, we are happy in our own universe at the moment, in our reality. If we discovered another reality where there was no racism or no sexism, would we prefer to live there? And if we did prefer to live there, do we know what has been lost in order to keep that sense of peace? It's like that saying about the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Because what if it isn't? Like, what if we found a different universe, an alternate reality where there was peace everywhere and everything we've been praying for is there? But there's some terrible thing that's made it hard. And we don't know until we set foot there and we realize, oh wait, we can't say this word or we get killed. Would we still like this world better than the one that we live in now? In a way, the myths and legends that we believe could also count as alternate realities. The historical stories from different religions could all count as alternate universes if you think of them in that very detached scientific way that could get me killed. But it is something to ponder, and it is something I'm going to leave you to ponder. And that is the question of, if we could harness the power to control alternate realities, if we could travel to a parallel universe where things are better, but certain things we take for granted are illegal, would we still want to have that power? would we still want to cross the line and live in that alternate universe? And also keep in mind that very popular phrase of absolute power corrupts absolutely. I'd love to hear what you have to think about this, what you have to say. I would love to have a conversation about this some more. Leave a comment if you have anything to say, if you think I missed anything, if there's any shows that explore these theories that you think I would like, please tell me. I'm always looking for more fun things to watch. Not sure what I'll be recording next week. There'll definitely be a video next week because I am trying to get back to weekly uploads because this actually makes me happy. And I need to find things that make me happy. So, yeah. If you like my weird rambles, hit subscribe. And also ring the bell for notifications, I guess. There will probably be another health update before the end of this year, maybe. I'm not sure. Whenever doctors decide to give me appointments. There will be rants, there will be rambles, there will be reviews, and maybe there'll be some sewing. Who knows? I will see you next week. It is late. I'm gonna go to bed. And yeah.